Hallo zusammen, hallo everyone. I'm live again with a little album listening party. Really excited about this one. It's gonna be a blind listening party. So that means I haven't listened to the album yet. It's gonna be a first time reaction, so to speak. Hope you guys are ready for this and will enjoy the album, because I don't know. It's very promising actually, because the band we're about to listen to today is really cool. It's a really great quality artist, I feel. I personally like them a lot. And yeah, I am looking forward to doing this. And also teaching some German words along the way, After we've listened to each song, we're gonna pause and then I'm gonna talk about the songs and what I feel about them, and also give some background information. Just have to keep an eye on my technical stuff here. Let's see. A little bit of an unusual time for me actually today, because usually I don't stream that early, comparatively early, because it's 3 p.m. in Germany right now. I usually stream in, the early to late evenings because of the time difference, so that makes more sense for you guys, for instance, in the USA or other parts of the world. But this time I can't, because I am gonna be out and about this evening with friends, so that's not possible for me. But it's still gonna be much fun. Hope you guys find a way to tune in, some of you, and of course also cheers and lovely greetings to all of you guys watching this on YouTube afterwards. The recording of this with timestamps, because that is basically your benefit, maybe. But of course, if you just want to let this roll and play, that is also greatly, greatly appreciated, because it really helps a lot in terms of watch time, and that is a really important parameter when it comes to the YouTube algorithm and how a channel does. So, yeah. Stream seems to work fine. We're gonna wait a couple of more minutes until we're gonna start with the actual listening party. So we'll find out if everything works out. I have actually changed a little bit here and there. Carl Creighton, hi. Thanks for tuning in. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. I was really tempted to really listen to the album before, but then I stopped myself and I said, no, I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait for this reaction to take place, and then we're gonna listen to the album together for the first time. Maybe you have heard it, I don't know. Hi Fenris! Suzanne, hi, wie geht's? How are you doing? Thanks for tuning in. That is also greatly appreciated, of course, as always. So, sometimes it's strange to say how many people are interested in a certain artist or not. I mean, with Rammstein and, Umf or other German artists on this channel, there's a pretty easy choice, many people will like them. But, in terms of Florence and the Machine in this case, I don't know if people are into this band. And anyway, or either way, I could also say, Ram. With these album listening parties and album reactions meets German lessons types of videos, so to speak, this new thing that I'm trying on this channel, that I want to do more often. I also hope that maybe each time I'm doing one of those, at least one person finds their way to this video and they might explore something new that they didn't know before. In this case, Florence and the Machine. People might have heard of the band name before or the artist, but they don't know them and they don't know which kind of music they make. And maybe at least one person, that would be my hope, so to speak, don't know, may actually go out here and, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna click it, even though I don't know the band or the artist, and I'm just gonna do it. you know, I hope that will be something interesting for some people. Umberto, hi once again. Thanks for tuning in once again. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, Umberto was really influential when it came to the last album listening party as well, because he also motivated me, sort of. He was one part in the puzzle, one piece in the puzzle. He basically gave me the last piece that I needed to really make this idea come alive, you know, and do this. Because I could be wrong, and, you know, I don't want to say I'm the first one to do this kind of mixture, you know, album reaction plus German lesson in a way. But I haven't really seen anyone else doing this before, so... And it's fun. It's, for me, personally, it's the perfect blend, the perfect mixture of two things that I love, which is music, listening to music, exploring music, especially in this case when it's a first time listening reaction thingy going on, and also helping you guys, you know, teaching some German words along the way, expressions and that kind of stuff. So, yes, I enjoy that you are a fellow music nerd. I am. And I also enjoy other music nerds. I definitely... You know, I'm a fan of nerds anyway. I would much rather be friends with nerds than, you know, people that... I don't want to judge people, of course, because it's to each their own in a way, you know, but I prefer creative people that maybe think outside the box, or might be not... It's hard to put it into words without sounding disrespectful to others, because I don't want to sound disrespectful. There are so many walks of life, and, you know, if people aren't nerds, that's okay. Okay, that's okay as well. That's fine with me as well, of course. But when it comes to music, I'm definitely a nerd. Yeah. So that's that. Definitely. So let's wait a few more minutes until 3 p.m., which is it is for me now. It's 9 minutes past 3 p.m. in Germany. And which means, you know, 5 more minutes, pretty much. And then we're gonna start with this. I'm really looking forward to listening to the album for the first time with you guys. Have you listened to the album yet? Or will it also be a first listening experience for you? I wonder. Glad to know that. Yes. Yes. I think you have a lot of passion for the music, though, and that brings people here even if they don't know the bands. I hope that's the case, but I don't know. You know, at least with some people, because, you know, I also totally get when people don't do that or are not like that, because, you know, time management during a day can be tough for people, of course, and it's also different, you know, with some cultures. For instance, in Germany, I don't know if you know that, you guys, in Germany, Sundays are off days, usually. You know, there are some jobs and occupations where you also work on Sundays, of course, but for the vast majority of German workers, Sundays are off days. And in my case, you know, many jobs also have Saturdays as off days, meaning both. You know, for me personally, for instance, I work in an office. I have an office job, and I work from Monday to Friday. And Saturday and Sunday are off days. You know, they are the weekend. And also, what's interesting, I think that's different in the US. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, isn't it so that in the US the week officially starts at on the Sunday, but in Germany it's Monday. Monday is the first day of the week. So I don't know. I love the first song, No Pressure. Okay. I haven't listened to anything, you know. I haven't listened to the singles. I don't even know what the singles are, with the exception of, I think, King, the first song. I don't know. You know, I didn't want to spoil myself here, and I try to it's increasingly difficult in times of, you know, social media and people writing about stuff instantly. But I try to keep away from that as much as I can, and it worked. Yes, it worked. Also, you might have noticed the camera angle is a bit different, but it's, you know, it's... I'm gonna move into the new flat next month, so there's also gonna be a new camera angle anyway, so I'm gonna change things around. And anyway, so, but I think this angle is better, definitely. A bit higher, you know, because sometimes when I made videos, the last couple of videos, and you will also see that in the upcoming new video about Angst by Rammstein, the lyrics, which I'm working on at the moment. I'm basically like this in the frame. Hey, hi. It's this my new video. Hi. And, you know, wasn't perfect. I think I have to find a better solution for like a gimbal sort of thing for my camera, the GH5 Mark II. The problem is I have a tripod and it stands on the tripod, but I think the tripod isn't really that well suited for a camera this size and this weight. So it's hard to balance things accordingly and have to find a better solution for that, I think. It worked with my last cam because it was much lighter, but this one... But Sunday is the first day of calendar weeks. We have Saturdays and Sundays off generally. Yeah, but also I think what's interesting for people, you know, in Germany, you can't buy things 24/7, you know, doing the grocery shopping or something like that, you know. Stores and shops, most of them usually are closed on Sundays in Germany. You can't buy stuff on Sundays, you know, with the exception of gas stations and bakeries and that kind of stuff. But the general stores, you know, for instance in a pedestrian zone, they're closed on Sundays in Germany. That's normal. Ture, what is it? ICAS? I hope I didn't butcher your name. I probably did. I'm sorry if I did, but I tried my very best. Thanks for tuning in. That is greatly appreciated. I love your Rammstein lyrics analyzing videos. Great job. Thank you very much for saying that. That is great feedback, and I highly appreciate that. Thank you. There's also going to be a new one coming up, I guess, next week. The past couple of days were quite busy. I was out and about quite often, so I didn't have as much time to work on videos. But there's gonna be more, of course, and upcoming stuff in the future. And by the way, all of you guys watching this right now, I guess, or most of you, let me put it this way, thank you very much for being a subscriber on this channel, because you made it possible that we've reached 50,000 subscribers. A couple of days ago, I think it was. And it just blows my mind. We're pretty much halfway done, you know, on the road to 100K, which is my one and only YouTube goal, if you can call it that. But Tiffany, hi. Sorry, I'm a little late. It's very early where I am. No worries, Tiffany. I usually don't stream this early in the day comparatively. I mean, it's 3 p.m. in Germany. It's not that early in Germany, but for you guys, in terms of the time zone difference, you know, it may be early, and I get that, but I can't stream later today because I'm gonna be out and about with friends, going to the movies, you know, and everything. So I can't stream later today, and tomorrow I can't stream either because I'm sorry, we're gonna be playing Dungeons and Dragons tomorrow once again. And so yeah, this is pretty much the only time frame I have today where I can stream. So everyone, I think it is time to slowly but surely start with the listening party. I'm gonna switch scenes right here. Don't you worry, you know, each time I'm actually starting this scene, this all runs through once and then it's gone. So some little changes you might see each time, you know, getting confused by that. This is the chat, of course, you know. I hope it works fine. It's quite small, but there's a reason for it, because up there, I can show you that. Some of you might have seen that last time as well, but you know, top right, on the top right, there is something that may be appearing during the stream, maybe not, I don't know. But just in case, that is reserved for that kind of stuff, basically. Dungeons and Dragons is a legitimate excuse for everything. I guess so. So it is. Where is it? This. You know, if something like that happens, it's also on screen, it's also recorded as a little thanks, eternal thanks, so to speak, you know, carved into stone, digital stone, if that makes sense. So that's the reason. I could actually lower the chat a little bit before we're gonna start. And then we are gonna start. Don't you worry, guys, because I can't wait. I wanna listen to the album badly. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, let's move the chat maybe a little bit closer, like this. Down there. Maybe. Guess so. Like, yeah, maybe like this. We'll see. Can I? Oh yeah, I can. Nice. I guess like this. Should work fine, I think. There's still a little. Okay, now it should be fine. And by the way, usually, you know, I have the chat here, so I'm also gonna look into the direction of the chat. So every time I'm looking this way, basically, you know that I'm reading chat. And I'm also looking at the album thingy when I'm looking even more into that direction, just so you know. Okay? Okay, so let's begin. Let's do this. The way it's gonna work is pretty much similar to last time. Unfortunately, out of copyright reasons and copyright stuff, you know, content ID claims on YouTube and all that kind of stuff, maybe even some artists and managements blocking videos worldwide or in certain parts of the world. And let's be honest, I don't want this to happen. I can't play the actual music in the live stream, but don't you worry, because as always, there's an easy workaround, because you can see that at the or in the pinned comment here in the chat, I'm also gonna repost that into the actual chat right now. You can listen to the album along with me. I'm gonna count in for every single song on this album listening party. And after each song, really important, we're gonna pause. You know, we're not gonna listen to the album in total non-stop. We're gonna pause after each song. We're gonna talk about the song for a moment, and then we're gonna proceed to the next song. So that is how this is gonna work. And it, you know, involves you pressing play and pausing. So please keep that in mind. But other than that, I think it's a fun little, neat little thing to, you know, work around copyright problems, potential ones, because I'm tired of that. I get when people, you know, don't think of this as the perfect way to do this. You know, I'd much rather have another solution where I can play the music, but I don't want to risk problems, and I don't want certain album listening parties to have music in them while others don't have. You know, now I really want to have this, you know, controlled in a way. That is the reason we're doing this way today. My son used to have a class in school that was playing Dungeons and Dragons every Friday. Yes, keep them emotes coming. Okay, guys. I hope you're ready. I'm gonna put on my tasty, awesome equipment right here. So, And I'm also gonna change the audio for a moment. This right here. Okay, so ready when you are. I hope you are. Feel free to let me know in the chat. Are you ready, guys? Let's adjust this. Let's wait a moment. This is working fine, I think. So, where did my chat go? Chat is supposed to stay here. Oh, maybe I could try something else. Just thinking about this right now. Let's see. Maybe I can do this as well. Oh no. Brain fart. Nope, doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. Just wanted to try something out real quick, but no. Okay. So, los, yeah, okay, let's go. By the way, Fenris, as a mod, in case someone actually tunes in while I'm listening to something and they ask how they can, you know, join the listening party, feel free to actually repost the album links if you want to. And, you know. And by the way, of course, every one of you might have seen that down there. You can always see where I am within the song. So if I'm reacting in a certain way, I try not to talk too much, you know, above the songs while they are playing. I might say one or two things here and there, but I try to keep my reaction or impressions, you know, review for after we've listened to the song. So at the end of each song, we're gonna hit pause. We're gonna talk about the song. Then we're gonna proceed to the next song. That's how it's gonna work. And of course, at the end, I'm also gonna give my overall reaction, first time listening reaction review, that is, of the album. So, without further ado, this is Florence and the Machine with the album Dance Fever. And the first song of 14 songs is titled King. Let's give it a listen in 3, 2, 1, play. you know, shining through. And the single piano note at the end. And stop. Okay, that was the first song, King. I think it was one of the singles, if I'm not mistaken. And this being a first time listening reaction for me, I haven't really looked up the lyrics beforehand, which I did with the last album reaction, which was for Impera by Ghost. Great album, by the way, because I already knew the album. But I can only, you know, talk about what I remember from the lyrics. And of course, the chorus, I am no mother, I'm no bride, I am king, is really interesting, not just because, you know, she uses the term king, even though, of course, as a woman, it would also be, you know, common, I guess, to use the term queen. But maybe that is a little twist there. I might be reading too much into this, I don't know. But maybe she's also really addressing this, you know, feel the way you want to feel and feel the way you do feel and be honest about this, you know, someone who might be born female and later on in life might explore that they feel male, you know, and that kind of stuff. I don't know, maybe it harkens back to that. I might be wrong. Anyway, it's an interesting line, I feel. And I'm also gonna post this into the chat, because in German, this would be Ich bin keine Mutter, ich bin keine Braut, ich bin ein König. Or just Ich bin König, you know, I am king, without the article. Ich bin der König, I am the king. Der, the, right? That would be the equivalent. So it's really interesting. To me, it almost felt like a song where the lyrical eye was, you know, picked on in childhood. People always looked down on them in the past, and now that they are older, they have the self-esteem, or they have the courage, the will, and the needs to step up and to basically address that. Maybe that could be about this. I'm not too sure. By the way, once again, hi Konstantin and hi John, if you want to take part in listening to this album, and maybe even for the first time listening to Florence and the Machine, to join. You've only missed one song, so there's plenty more to go. You can find the links to the songs in the pinned comment here in the chat. So, interesting song. And of course, the title, King, is der König, singular. Die Könige, plural, the king. And in terms of a female emperor, so to speak, a female person of reign, to put it this way, it's die Königin, singular. Die Königinnen, plural, the queen, right? So, and also the term der König serves as a general term. This would be the first one, and this would be the feminine version, masculine and feminine. So, yeah, it's really, it has a, I mean, you know, being the first song on the album, I feel it's very quiet, but I don't dislike that. I like that. It's very unusual, because usually when I'm listening to rock or metal, the first song really powerful, except for it's like an introduction, like an intro type of song, of course. Then sometimes it isn't, but it really sets the tone. It might be a more thoughtful album, and maybe a little bit darker, because it was sort of dark, but not dark in a depressive way. More thought-provoking, I feel. So I definitely like this. I think that lyric is really interesting from the perspective of a female musician. I feel you, yeah. I mean, I'm not, of course, but I know that you are, so I can see how you would relate to that aspect. And yeah, maybe, you know, Florence Welch, the singer and songwriter of the band, being in the same position, I could definitely see that fit, you know. Finding your own voice, not just in life, but also in the music industry, the music business, where many male people, many men, actually are active and pretty much dominating the scene. I mean, it's become more diverse and better in recent years and maybe the last 2 decades even, with Nightwish, Evanescence, Amy Lee, Floriansen, and other female-fronted bands, and being Hailstorm, for instance. I'm also maybe gonna listen to the new Hailstorm album as an album listening party. Um, yeah. Um, do you suppose King could stand for something else? Kicked in new group or knowledge, intelligence, noble blood? She can be subtle like that. I could see that fit as well. I mean, it really would work as such an anagram. Yeah, das Anagramm, which is pretty much similar to that. Yeah, das Anagramm, neuter term. Acronym, sorry. Anagram would be, I think, when you could read a name from front to back and back to front, and it's the same. I think that's isn't that an anagram? Or isn't, I'm confusing things right now as well. Or is an anagram when you actually switch letters within a word and then you create a new word, out of those letters. Das Akronym. But anyway, yeah, it's das Akronym. Once again, a neuter term. So, definitely interesting first single, I think it was, and also song. I think I haven't seen the music video, obviously, because it's a blind reaction, but I know that Bill Nighy actually takes part in that, the actor Bill Nighy, and every time I see him, I immediately think of the movie Underworld and him being the vampire boss, And also Shaun of the Dead with, was it Philip? I think he was Philip. He also did a great job there. And also Hot Fuzz, he also played in that one, and great movies. Yeah. You guys are quick. Yeah, but also confused. Ginger, also great band. Okay, everyone, I think it's time for the second song on this album, which is titled Free. Hope you're ready once again, because we're gonna listen to this one after a little sip from my coffee. Delicious. Lecker. Tasty. Okay. Second song, which is titled Free. It's gonna be playing in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, electronic. Okay, that was the second song. I don't know if it was a single, judging from the streams, how often it was played on Spotify in this case. I guess it was one because, 7,800,000 so and so. So that's quite a lot. The album's been out since like last Friday, I think, or last week's Friday, that is, not this week. So round about a week. And I love the dancey nature of the song. It was a feel good song, I feel. And that also is resembled in the chorus, which of course repeatedly mentioned. Um, and for a moment, when I'm dancing, I'm free. Und für einen Moment, wenn ich tanze, bin ich frei, in a literal sense. Um, you could also say, basically rephrase it. Und für einen Moment bin ich frei, wenn ich tanze, which might be more, common in terms of daily German and how you would phrase that. You would use the bin ich frei, I am free part more in the middle of the phrase, but you can also use this one. But this, und für einen Moment bin ich frei, wenn ich tanze. That would be more common in terms of German, how Germans might actually phrase this. So that is why I'm gonna post this into the chat. There it is. It was the second single. Emre, hi. Thanks for tuning in. Hi. That's greatly appreciated. Thank you. And by the way, Fenris, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. And everyone else, of course, feel free to do that. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems that you are also streaming the sound. Am I? Oh, shit. No, I'm not supposed to stream the sound. Fuck. Thanks for saying that. I should not be streaming the sound of the song. So, I hope it's... now it should be off, because that is not what I want to do, because of, copyright. Forgot to mute that channel, actually. Thanks for saying that. So it's always important. Feel free, guys, feel free to tell me that kind of stuff, because I can't hear that if I'm doing that sometimes, because, it's hard to tell, in terms of my streaming software, and what you guys are hearing might be something different that I'm hearing when I'm recording or streaming live. So just so you know. But thanks for saying that. I like the totally solid dream pop backing instruments, Fenris said. It lets her voice just flow very freely over the top. Freely. See? And yes, I totally agree. It's dream poppy. It certainly is a really cool blend of electronics and acoustics, I feel. I like when they do that, or when bands do that, when you mix acoustics and electronic sounds. Coldplay have done that before as well with what was the song on Ghost Stories? Oceans, I think it's called. There are little, electronic influences here and there, playing along with the acoustic guitar. And I always like when people do that, when artists do that, because it sounds really fresh, and it's a cool mixture of something that is organic, the acoustic guitar, and something that is more digital, modern. It brings both worlds together musically, the old and the new. And therefore, when it's done well, it might actually make art sort of timeless, even, And I feel in this case, it was done well. It was a pretty cool song. I don't know if there is a really a deeper meaning to it, apart from let yourself go, in the sense of, allow yourself to be happy and to enjoy life at times, even though there are obstacles in the way, and always make sure to have time for yourself and to dance, to be infected by or with the dance fever, so to speak. We're about to come to that in the next song as well. Spoiler alert. Because of the title. Because, of course, I haven't listened to it, just so you know. But I have looked up the title because it's really interesting. And yeah, sind die Clubs öffnen wieder Deutschland? Du kannst dort tanzen, frei sein. If the clubs are open once again in Germany, yes, they are. And you can also go to shows, to concerts again. Just like this week, I've been to a Tool concert with my dad and friends. And last month, I've been to a Ghost concert. And there's going to be plenty more concerts for me this year. And I'm really looking forward to them. I used to run song share critical listening sessions online, so please let me know if I get too nerdy or boring or annoying. No, no, no. Not at all, Fenris. Don't you worry about that. Quite the opposite. I actually appreciate when people are also sharing their opinions and impressions, because they can very well be different to what I feel, and that's totally legit. There is no wrong, there is no right with this, I don't think. So, and sometimes, you know, especially like this, when I don't have the lyrics on screen and I don't, you know, I haven't listened to the album before, it's a fresh impression, I can't pick up on every single lyric. So it's good to share your thoughts as well. Don't you worry about that at all. No, no, no. So yeah, I like the vibe of the song. That is what I want to say. And of course, the title is Free, which in German would be quite similar. It's frei, you know, to be free, frei sein. And there are also some other related forms. This is the first one, the basic one, free, frei sein. And then you could also free someone, of course, when someone is captured or in a sad situation or bad situation and you offer help. You might want to free them of that situation. So in that case, you would say befreien, jemanden befreien, to free someone of a certain situation, for instance. Befreien. So it has the prefix be davor. Davor. That was German. Before that. And yes, I actually wanted to say that during King or after King, but I forgot. Her voice, of course. You know, I love the fast vibrato that she's going on. It's quite unusual. Not too many singers have that this way, I don't think. But it really suits her style. I love the way she sounds, and I think she just phonetically, like from a tonal quality point of view, the range of her voice and the timbre, you know, she is a perfect addition to the instruments, the instrumentation. And that is a big strength of this group and what they do. It's one reason why I like them a lot. It works as a perfect mixture, you know? And they know what they are doing. This is their 5th album, by the way. It's, I think, 47 minutes long. So, yeah, they know what they do by now. And by the way, last but not least, regarding this song, there's also another related important term, the noun, die Freiheit, singular, die Freiheiten, plural, the freedom. You know, there's also free in there, and the heit, the suffix heit after frei, is pretty much similar to, in this case, the dom ending, freedom, Freiheit, you know. Maybe that might be a little link for you to memorize things. I don't know. Okay, everyone. Now the music shouldn't be playing on stream, hopefully. But maybe this is also a nice little experiment, so I can see afterwards if this will get flagged or if, you know, I have to actually edit that stuff out later on with YouTube, the YouTube Studio, because there are certain things and ways to do that, but the sound quality usually suffers quite a lot from that, and nah, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So hope you don't mind, and I hope you don't mind. We're gonna continue with the next song, Choreomania. Interesting title. I'm gonna talk about that after the song, of course, and let's find out what this song might be about. In 3, 2, 1, play. No spoken word. Every time I'm looking this way, by the way, I'm taking notes. Mm. Has a great vibe to it, which is quite ironic when you're listening to the music and the lyrics in combination. No, it isn't. I like the vocal harmonies when they do that. It's always fun. Mm. And hard stop right now. Okay. Wow. I always felt guilty to, nodding my head to this because the lyrics are really dark, actually. This is a good example of a song where the lyrics are really dark, yet the musical side is quite uplifting. And it's quite, dancey, which is also part of this song's topic. Because I don't know if that is a common term in English, to be honest, choreomania, if many English speakers know that term and what that means. I didn't. I had to look it up, and turns out it refers to die Tanzwut, or the um, the dancing madness, to translate it back to English and to use another term other than choreomania. I think it was a phenomenon, a cultural, social phenomenon from the 14th to the 17th century AD, as far as I'm concerned, also in parts of Europe, also in Germany, where people actually danced heavily and like mania. They were in a state of, manic dancing. It sounds strange, but it actually was a phenomenon that existed back in the day. And I don't think people know for sure why that occurred, like why that happened, but I think I think there are many potential reasons for it. I don't know what the actual reasons were. If they if they danced out of like sense of fear or impending doom, which basically is implied in the lyrics, I feel, because something's coming, something's about to come, something fearful, dangerous, doom is gonna happen at some point. So let's celebrate life while we can. Maybe it actually takes us up on that carpe diem trope, the make good use of the day, make best use of the time you have, your lifetime, while you have it, because you don't know when it's going to be over. I guess it harkens back to that as well. It's a really interesting mixture, therefore, the very, very dark-ish lyrics and the quite, cheerful, happy music. So very interesting. Very interesting. It is thought to be connected to Huntington's disease and or drugs. Yeah, I mean, that might work as well, of course. Florence's lyrics have always bordered on the dark side. Lungs was my introduction to this group with the dark lyrics, where that what attracted me, and the harp playing. Yeah, harps. I love harp playing as well. The harmonies are just gorgeous. Yes, I also said that when the song was playing. I love when they do that. They have a great sense for harmonic vocals, vocal harmonies, similar to the likes of, the Beach Boys, for instance, or in more modern times, Steven Wilson, Porcupine Tree. He also does that a whole lot on his albums and on Porcupine Tree albums, vocal harmonies. I'm a sucker for that. I love that. And also in Ghost, last time we actually listened to the new Ghost album Impera, which was the previous album listening party, and he, like Tobias Forge, the mastermind and singer in Ghost, he does that a whole lot as well, and I love it. Again, the music brings the lyrical imagery to life. It starts sparsely, but begins to build very quickly in a way that feels like snowballing into an avalanche. That is a great picture you put out there, Fenris. Couldn't have said it better, actually. Just that sense of losing yourself to something. Yes. But it's interesting. Is it losing yourself to something in the sense of being naive and not caring, or still being careful, yet also, having courage going forward, going for it, just going for it? Maybe a mixture of both? It's interesting. So, I think you could also see this as a compound word, of course, choreomania, choreography and mania. I don't know if it's meant like that, the etymology, or, the word origin, if that is related to that. I don't know. Anyway, if you were to say that, it's actually die Choreographie, singular, die Choreographien, plural, the choreography. So very similar once again, because, as you might know, both German and English are Indo-Germanic languages. They have the same, they're of the same linguistic family, so there are many similarities. And the second part would be also very similar to the English one, die Manie. Singular, die Manien, plural, the mania, right? So that is pretty much that. And a more common German term for mania in daily German, I guess you could say, would be der Wahnsinn, singular, and only singular, by the way. There's no plural form. Der Wahnsinn, the madness. So, yes, works really well as well. Well as well. Interesting mixture. I like when people do that. When you almost feel guilty for enjoying a song like that, because you know that the lyrics are really effed up and dark at times. So, I don't know. I mean, the next song, Girls Against God, the title also seems to be very confrontational. Duh, you don't say, Dave, but I do. But I guess we're gonna find out. Hope you're ready. In 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, fade in. this time. Oh no, sorry. My bad. That was my bad. The next song is Back in Town. Rewind. Stop. That was my bad. Hope you noticed. I actually overlooked the actual next fourth song, which is Back in Town. I'm very sorry, guys. That I didn't do that on purpose. I'm old. Okay, so next song. That was a first. Next song is Back in Town, which will be playing in 3, 2, 1, play. But still fade in. And a very quiet and long fade in on the right side. By the way, one more line to translate from the last song. Gonna put that into the chat. I just kept spinning and I danced myself to death. Ich drehte mich einfach weiter und tanzte mich zu Tode. Sounds like fun. Mm. Wow. Wow. Yes, John. Very gospely. Wow. Wow. And stop. Wow. Okay, that was Back in Town by Florence and the Machine. Very gospely, very airy, breathy in a way, and very floating It didn't seem grounded, similar to other songs they have. On the ground, it's pretty much above the clouds. It's pretty much flying above and hovering above, levitating and everything in between and all at once. Wow. To be honest, I can't really make sense of the lyrics directly. I mean, of course, I mentioned or I noticed the very intriguing line, I came for the pleasure, but I stayed for the pain. Which would be, ich kam wegen des Vergnügens, aber ich blieb wegen des Schmerzes. Or der Schmerzen in plural. So, I mean, just judging from that line alone, I guess you could actually think of this as something both that could be either negative or positive. I feel it sort of is. It's positive and also brave in a way. It expresses bravery and courage because to me, it could mean something like you always stay together with someone, no matter, yeah, also in the bad times, not just in the good times. So maybe in that vein. In another sense, of course, you might also be able to say that you came for the pleasure, but you stayed for the pain, because even though it does harm you, and you're not having a good time anymore because of outer influences or people that drag you down, and that kind of stuff. You are addicted to the situation because you're so used to it. You have grown used to it and you've become a part of it, and you can't escape that situation. So you have to stay for the pain, and you have to endure the pain and the suffering that comes along with it. You stayed, you came because once it was good, but now it isn't, but you can't escape the situation. That type of scenario. But I guess it's rather meant in a positive way. I mean, also the music, you could argue that it may strengthen or underline a certain sadness or melancholy. But I don't know. To me, it rather seems positive, but I am not positive about that. I don't know for sure. That is what I want to say. Stockholm syndrome. Yes. Good point, John. And you were also right when you said so viel Seele in ihrer Stimme. Yeah, she has so much soul in her voice. There is no choice. Maybe there isn't. When she sings "Stage for the Pain," it sounds very Imogen. Is it? I always forget how to pronounce her name. Imogen? Is it Imogen Heap? Because that is not a common German name at all. Because just because. I think it's Imogen, right? Imogen Heap. By the way, great song, Hide and Seek. It was. Many people just know that little section in the chorus because it's used in memes and stuff, but the song itself is beautiful. Love it. And at first, the pads, the keyboard synthesizers and pads in the background, they were like the drone that Fenris also addressed, was so quiet in the mix and so, down there, and she was here, that you could always or almost have the impression, especially in the beginning, that it almost sounded like a cappella and very soulful, very gospel-like, reminded me of Bioshock Infinite, to be honest. And also, I don't know if you're familiar with that song, Monsoons by Puscifer, which is a musical project by Maynard James Keenan, the singer of Tool, which is way more electronic, pop, rock based. And they have a song called Monsoons, which is also very elegic, I think it is, elegisch, very floaty, levitating type of sound. Also very gospel-y, spiritual. So that is cool. Anyway, back in town would translate to zurück in der Stadt. You know, you are back in town, du bist zurück in der Stadt. Du bist in die Stadt zurückgekehrt. You came back to town. Du bist in die Stadt zurückgekehrt. So that is that. Back in town. And of course, you know, back is zurück with an Ü, with an Umlaut Ü there. Back. And it's die Stadt, singular. Die Städte, plural, which is either town or city. You could use that for both, pretty much. You know, little towns, bigger cities. It's always die Stadt. Even though, you know, when you have a really big city like Berlin, for instance, you would also use the term die Großstadt, the big city, you know, the main big city. Die Großstadt, the huge city, basically translated, or tall city, translated literally. That is that. So, back in town could also be. Oh, it sounds outside because my window is kind of tilted because it's quite warm with these lights and everything, just so you know. But you shouldn't be able to hear it because I put a noise gate on my microphone. But I was kind of confused for a moment. So, yeah, back in town could also mean, you know, back to something that you knew from before and back to a situation you've known from before, but it's not the same maybe anymore. I don't know. The town she describes could also be a metaphor. Yeah, that is what I was thinking about. Back in town, back to the common situations, the common context that I've known from before, but that context or those contexts might have changed, and I might not like the way it has changed, or I don't know. You could interpret this song in many different ways for sure. I feel, and I appreciate that a lot. Anyway, now to the song that I introduced before, wrongfully so, which is track number 5, Girls Against God. Interesting title. What could this be about? We'll find out, or at least we're gonna try. Let's play it in 3, 2, 1, los. And once again, a fade in. And it almost sounds very vulnerable, right? Verletzlich, that is. Almost gives me some Joni Mitchell vibes as well, which I like. Hmm. Ooh, nice chord changes. Hmm. Hmm. I love this chord change here. Hmm. Very tasteful. Wow. Got some goosebumps as well. Whew. And the downward spiral. Ah. Walking away. And stop. Wow. Okay, that was an interesting ending. Didn't expect that. That she would come back vocally, you know, vocal wise. Wow. Really impressive song. You know, the chord changes, the harmonic progression in this one, in the chorus, if you can call it that, because it's not a hooky based song and it doesn't have to be. Really strong. I love that it reminded me of a different song. Is it Subterranean by Foo Fighters? With a similar effects, you know. Might not be the similar, yeah, like the same chords, but where the tonal quality is, or the mood, you know, the atmosphere, die Atmosphäre, is very similar. So very like a melancholic, sort of sad, but not totally sad, but a little bit sad, you know, thought provoking. And huh. Her vocal delivery in this one is flawless. Voice sometimes soaring, sometimes relaxing, um, coaxing. Sorry, I have to have my glasses on, I guess, next time. The melody into an almost whisper, kind of confessional. I feel like I'm reading someone's diary. Yes, yeah, got the same impression. Very intimate, you know, very upfront. And I also wanted to address that in the last song as well, because I mean it's something that is not new to Florence and the Machine, and many people, I guess, out there might also. I might be wrong, but I guess many people might also dislike that about the band, that she isn't a trained singer per se. You know, her vibrato is kind of uneven at times, but I like that. I personally totally dig that because it adds to the human factor in this one. It doesn't sound like a machine singing. You know, there is soul, there is human, something human in there, and something that is really authentic. And I like when she has an uneven vibrato at times. Vibrato, 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 vibrato. That would be the German term. Das Vibrato. You know, the oh, that type of stuff I'm talking about. If, in case you don't know what vibrato is, um, the style of singing, basically singing technique, and she does a great job. She has a quite fast vibrato most of the time, and it is very much one of her trademarks, I feel, and I do like that. She was trained for opera singing, but was she really at the beginning of the career with Florence and the Machine still? Because if she was, she could actually, and I don't mean that in a negative way, don't get me wrong, but if she was already trained back then with lungs, you know, when they started out in the mid 2000s, I think 2007 or something like that. Um, she sounded very undefined, and I once again I don't mean that in a negative way, quite the opposite. She sounded very, young, but also very still learning. She hadn't reached a certain, sound. Maybe she was still trying to express herself, and she also has this sound of vulnerability. Die Verletzlichkeit, basically. So verletzlich is vulnerable. Gonna post that into the chat. Verletzlich. I think her voice is like a faucet. How do you mean? She was trained as a child, but apparently her voice wouldn't have become suitable for opera until her 30s, according to Florence herself. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing that, Emre. That is greatly appreciated. But anyway, I do like her vocal delivery, whether she's trained or not. So she does a great job. She obviously has much more control by now, at this point in her career. I feel she has grown as a singer, and it really suits her well, I feel. Because she can sound vulnerable still when she wants to sound vulnerable, but she can also go for it. She has a great, versatile voice. And also, to some degree, also with the last song, Back in Town, it also reminded, I don't know what it is, but to some degree it also reminded me of Peter Gabriel, Don't Give Up, maybe? Something like that, like a really low key, quiet, calm, thought-provoking song. Had the same quality, So, yeah, once again, I think this one has one of my favorite chord progressions of this album so far. But I've enjoyed all of the songs so far. So, the line, of course, that she repeatedly mentioned is also addressing God, because it says, wait a moment, no, that is not what it says. But God, you're gonna get it. You'll be sorry that you messed with us. Aber Gott, du wirst es verstehen. Es wird dir leid tun, dass du dich mit uns angelegt hast. That is pretty much the German translation. Aber Gott, du wirst es verstehen. You're gonna get it. Es wird dir leid tun. You'll be sorry, dass du dich mit uns angelegt hast. That you messed with us. So, long phrase, but yeah. This is it, by the way, in the chat. She sounded like as if she was angry with how she was raised, maybe religiously raised, and therefore also kind of limited in her perspective, maybe. Like a very conservative, maybe very religiously strict parents, in childhood. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it could be a quite self-reflective song that it, because once again, I always keep saying that, but it's important to mention that the lyrical eye, the person that is telling the story in the song, doesn't have to be the same as the singer. There is a difference, sometimes at least, between the lyrical eye and the singer as a person. They can be one and the same, like meaning autobiographical, for instance, but they don't have to be. For instance, in the case of Rammstein, or in the case of Die Ärzte, another really well-known German rock band, Farin Urlaub, the singer and songwriter, one of them in the band, and guitarist, he actually often writes songs from someone else's perspective about something that he might not have experienced himself that way, but he actually tried to, think or to change perspective, That's also really interesting. So this could be autobiographical, but it doesn't have to be. I don't know. Maybe you guys know more about that. It makes a great voice for that kind of pop rock alternative sound she's going for. Yes. Unique in her genre. Yes. Maybe somewhat comparable to Amy Lee. Yeah. Even though I'd say Florence sounds more fragile in parts, and and I dig that. I like both, but I don't think. I mean, Amy Lee is more like a belty type of singer most of the time. I feel she can also be very like airy, breathy, but I don't think I could be wrong. I have never heard her sing like that before, like really belty, uh, throughout a whole song, straight, really loud and powerful. I don't know if Florence could do that as well, but when if I had to imagine a metal band that's either fronted by Amy Lee or Florence, I would say maybe Amy Lee has a. Mm, sounds strange to say this, but maybe she has the more suiting, fitting voice for that type of music, the really loud, really aggressive metal type of music, as opposed to Florence, because she is the kind of music they make suits her voice and her vocal qualities very well. I feel it wouldn't work to me. I don't think I would like it as much if it were like really loud metal, with her voice in there, and if she sang that way as well. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. She's also an advocate of LGBT rights. I'm not sure if that's relevant here, but that's what I thought about when reading the title. Yes, I guess so. I mean, I also addressed that, I think, in Free before, a couple of minutes ago. So, might certainly play into that. And I personally also appreciate it. By the way, Sunny, hi, first of all. Thanks for tuning in. And I hope you also dig the album, because so far I'm really digging it. But let's continue with the sixth song, Dream Girl Evil. 3 terms that might be related in some way or another. Maybe we're gonna find out, maybe not. Let's actually listen to it. Anyway, which is song number 6, Dream Girl Evil by Florence and the Machine. And it's about to be playing in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh. Ooh, I love how that rhythm creeped in an unexpected way through the strumming. And stop. Okay, so melody wise, it was really beautiful, but it was a melody that I have heard quite some times before, like a melodic progression, that is. Um, but that doesn't make it worse. You know, it's a great melody and it's great melodic progression going on there. Um, it also reminded me of, is it "Waiting on a War" by the Foo Fighters or something else? Can't come up with the actual song that I was thinking about. I don't know. Interesting. So, you know, both the previous song and this song feature the same term in the title, which I haven't talked before in the last or for the last song, which is das Mädchen, singular, die Mädchen, plural, the girl, right? So it's a pretty interesting perspective, but I think both songs address something that is unique. I mean, you know, what I mean by that is they don't tackle the same topics necessarily. In this case, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but there was a line, a projection of your mother. Like, you know, you see me, or someone sees a girl or a woman in a relationship, maybe, you know, they are a couple, but all the man or the partner actually sees in the girl is their own mother, you know, and it's pretty much a distorted point of view, a distorted perspective, and therefore unbalanced relationship with wrong expectations. And, you know, maybe also might address some sort of like a syndrome, maybe, that you have a distorted view on life, or, you know, I could be totally wrong about this. That is what I got out of that line, especially. And Dream Girl Evil, you know, it's actually your dream girl. You know, from the partner's point of view, maybe, in the sense of, you know, I've always dreamt about that girl, you know, and but they dreamt of that because that girl reminds them of their own mother and what they like in their mother. And, you know, it sounds strange to say this, but I guess it was spoken from an archetype of woman, of women, I think, being viewed as mother and also a lover. Yeah. What is it? L'amour fatal. Um, yeah, that is pretty much going into the same direction, John. Um, what I also thought about this. Uh, yeah, it's an interesting point of view, definitely. Um, I mean, you know, being a man, I can't speak for women, of course, and I don't want to, um, because that would be unfair, obviously. And but I, you know, sometimes every now and then you actually read something like that or hear something like that somewhere that like sometimes women seem to or feel as if they were replacing the partner's mother part in a relationship, you know. Um, for instance, the woman, you know, preparing meals, washing clothes, doing the household stuff, you know, and all that. And the man, or for instance, a man or like a woman or who else it is, not doing anything, and they are doing everything, and, you know, the total caring. You know, the girl in this case in the relationship is doing everything, every single thing to make the other person, the partner, happy. Um, up to the point they might actually also be suffering from sort of a das Helfer-Syndrom, it is in German, you know, the helper syndrome. You actually are so invested in helping someone else that they feel the best as they can. They are satisfied, all their needs are satisfied. But at the same time, you don't actually make sure that you yourself feel great, because it's all about the other person, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'm way off the track here, but yeah. Interesting. There's a really constant descending chord progression all the way through on in E minor, I think, but she uses dynamic variations to move the song along, and it feels like a gut punch when it kicks in. Yes. Can totally relate to that. Yes. That is also something that I appreciate, not just in terms of this album, but we've also heard that before, but also in terms of the band as a whole. They are really dynamic. They can be, when they want to be quiet, they can be very quiet, and when they want to go, out front, they can do that as well. And they know how to play with dynamics. It's not, all on the same level, all compressed to death, so to speak. So I do appreciate that. Sometimes I feel like in popular music, and to some degree, I think Florence and the Machine belong to that realm as well, which is good for them, because I feel that they deserve that in terms of quality and their musical quality. I feel like sometimes, with popular music in terms of radio, pop, or R&B, it's so compressed, like overly compressed, just really loud. Everything is pretty much up there in terms of loudness. And even the quiet parts are like maybe here and not here where they should be as a really quiet part. Just talking about a production aspect here for a moment. So, and I dig that they actually have way more dynamic within their songs and within their albums, within their discography, within their sound. They allow that to happen, and I totally dig that. Anyway, before we're gonna continue with the next song, one more word from the last song that I forgot to mention, because I was so invested in talking about the song that I forgot. I'm sorry. Which is God. In German that is der Gott, singular, die Götter, plural, the God, both masculine and general. And if it's a female god, you would say actually die Göttin, singular, die Göttinnen, plural, the goddess, right? So it's girls against God, Mädchen gegen Gott. That is that. And of course, as I've said before, the term Mädchen also reappears in this song title, in this song number 6. And yeah, the other term that is really prominent here is der Traum, which is der Traum, singular, die Träume, plural, the dream. And of course also evil, böse. Or you could also, of course, refer to it as a noun, which is das Böse. It's a neuter noun in that case. The evil. That's that. So, yeah. I don't know how that evil actually plays into that, what I just said, but maybe, I guess there is some way. Reminds me of Within Temptation a little. Yes. Definitely, I can see that fit as well. Sharon den Adel, like the singer of Within Temptation, she also has a similar vulnerable quality to her voice, I feel, sometimes, especially in like ballady types of songs. Somewhere, for instance, is a great example. Angels, I think it's called. Yes, something like that. Love it. Let's find out if I'm also gonna be loving song number 7 with a really interesting title. Maybe one of my favorite song titles at first glance. It's called Prayer Factory. Very contradicting title, because when you think of prayers, you think of something, spiritual that is very personal, and a factory is something that might be, out in the distance and dirty and, work. a factory. We're building something. We're creating something, you know. So, I don't know. Interesting choice of words, though. That is what I want to say here, and that is what I mean by that. Okay, so let's continue with the next song, which is indeed Prayer Factory. And it's gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go. And it's also a short one, 1 minute and 13 seconds. An interlude, intermission. And stop. Okay, I guess it was meant more like an intro to Cassandra, the next song, I guess. But they could have built upon that, what I just heard, or what we just heard, I feel. They could have made a whole song about that, or from that, rather. I couldn't really catch the lyrics, to be honest, all too much. Prayer Factory. I mean, I just like the title, you know, itself, which you could also translate as a compound word, which is die Gebetsfabrik. You know, and within there it's das Gebet and die Fabrik, and within there is the Fugenelement, das Fugenelement, the joint element, the S in this case, Gebetsfabrik, right? So that is that. A really intriguing song title. Kate Bushy, yeah. So also sounds interesting to say that. Kate Bushy. A very short song, it seems. Yeah, I think it was meant more like an introduction or like an intermission, interlude for Cassandra. So I maybe that melody line that we just heard might be reappearing in Cassandra. I don't know. And of course, since it's a compound word, it's das Gebet, singular, die Gebete, plural, the prayer, and die Fabrik, singular, die Fabriken, plural, the factory. So, two terms that at first glance don't seem to have anything in common, but maybe in some contexts they do. I wonder. I don't know. You know? Maybe, maybe not. Definitely interesting, yeah. It makes you want to listen to more of it, I feel. You know, it's maybe that's the strength of those shorter interludes sometimes, is that they raise the appetite, you know, in a way. And also raising the appetite for a moment here. Just also showing you this. And thanks to all my Patreon members and everyone who supports me on Patreon. That is greatly appreciated, of course, you know. And by the way, also raising the appetite once more, if you're a fan of podcasts, and especially learning German with podcasts or using podcasts as a listening practice, feel free to use my podcast for that if you want to, because it's simply titled The German Podcast, you know, because it is a podcast in German, which means it's both suitable for German native speakers, but also for, you know, people from other countries that are using this as a listening practice. The German Podcast. It's available on pretty much all common podcast platforms, streaming providers, all that kind of stuff. Just so you know. So that is that. That is the chat again. Do you know Neko Case? No, I don't. Or is it Nico? Neko? I don't know. Never heard of that person. I don't know. Okay, everyone. Let's continue with the 8th song. And I can say a little bit about what this could be linking to, or could be about, in terms of the name Cassandra. So thank you very much, Fenris. Thank you very much for saying that. I do too. But I'm a bit biased, of course. So anyway, let's continue with the 8th song on the album, which is titled Cassandra. In German, that would be Cassandra. That would be a more German pronunciation of the name. Cassandra. Cassandra. So, I'm sorry. That was me. Let's listen to it. And it's a proper song in the sense of it's over 4 minutes long. So let's check it out in 3, 2, 1, go. Carl Creighton, thank you very much for the super chat tip of $10. That is greatly appreciated. Thank you very, very much. That's very generous. Brofist. So, why am I not hearing anything? The song isn't playing for me. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I have to restart. Sorry, everyone. I didn't hear anything, strangely enough. So let's restart. Sorry. I was like 30 seconds or so have passed and I didn't hear anything. I only heard silence. So I thought, what's that? Is that supposed to be like that? I don't think so. So, sorry, everyone. Once again. Wasn't my bad. I don't know what it was. Technical difficulty, maybe. So, let's restart the song. Let's play Cassandra for real now. In 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, now it works. Nice. Spotify actually was messing with me. Okay, yep. Also strong Sharon den Adel vibes once again in the chorus. Nice details. And stop. Wow. Okay. That was definitely single material. Like, what a great chorus. Wow. Really, really liked this one a whole lot. I mean, I also liked every single one of them before. Mr. Spock, hi! Mir geht's sehr, sehr gut. Ich hoffe, dir geht's auch sehr gut. Vielen Dank, dass du einschaltest. Um, so, uh, this is a contender for my favorites one so far. Yes, same. It is really damn catchy, and I love that. Um, the chorus, the high see me, the really high tones, that was very Sharon den Adel within Temptation, like, love it. Um, so I can definitely hear that in this song as well, and I think I was right about what I thought this could be about, just simply judging from the song's title and the name, which I'm gonna get to in a moment. But first of all, let's talk about one of the lines that I caught. Everything I thought I knew is falling out of view, which in German could be alles, was ich zu wissen glaubte, gerät aus dem Blickfeld. Out of view, or like the field of view or the point of view would be das Blickfeld, basically. More like the field of view, FOV. The gamers of you might be familiar with that term, adjusting the FOV in games. The field of view, the angle, basically, how much you can see and how broad, how wide, or how tiny, how small the field of view is for you as a player. So Sharon Van Etten, yeah, she also has a similar vibe. By the way, very underrated. I first heard about Sharon Van Etten when a song of hers was playing at the end of a The Walking Dead episode. And I think it was Serpents. Serpents in my mind. That kind of stuff. Really cool. Very fragile quality as well. So, similar quality as well. Definitely also a great suggestion. So, um, everything I thought I knew is falling out of you really harkens back to one of the potential influences for this song, lyrically speaking, because I don't know if you know that, but I was familiar with that concept, the idea of the Cassandra, as someone who brings bad news, or who constantly warns people of impending doom, of something, of an upcoming potential danger, but people don't listen to her, you know. Um, and it seemed to be related to that, judging from the lyrics and what I just, caught from them at first listen. Because once again, this is a first listen reaction. I haven't listened to the album before, and I don't have the lyrics. So, because, in ancient Greek, I actually wrote that down, so I'm going to read it for you guys. In ancient Greek mythology, the Cassandra was the daughter of the Trojan king Priamos, I think it was, Priamos. Because of her beauty, she was given the ability to be clairvoyant, to see the future, to have visions, by the god Apollon. When she refused his efforts, he wanted to be with her, and maybe erotic efforts, what else, that kind of stuff. Apollon cursed her to never be able to tell others about her visions and predictions of the future and upcoming dangers and dangerous situations, Hence, she's commonly seen as a tragic person who was clairvoyant, who could see the future and negative things that are about to happen, most likely, at least. But she could never tell anyone or warn of upcoming catastrophes and the like. So, that is pretty much that, in a nutshell. She could see the upcoming, slowly rising evil forces of the future and negative things that might happen, are about to happen, but she couldn't warn other people. She couldn't share that because in this case she was cursed. And I guess when you compare that to real life people like that, people that might have made, scientific examinations and they present quite dangerous outcomes of how we interact with nature, for instance, climate change and all that. There are some people that just don't believe that. They pretend to not have heard or read that scientific proof, that there is global warming and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that is related. And in that case, it's slightly different because, of course, those people can hear and perceive those warnings, but they don't want to. But it's the same, At the end of the day, it's the same because if they don't act or if they don't change their behavior or, if they don't accept that things are changing for the worse when you don't stop things from happening that way, it's going to be very, very dangerous. So it's an interesting concept, definitely, and I can definitely think of a few people also in Germany that have constantly warned of, for instance, the pandemic and that kind of stuff, the danger, the potential danger of the virus and all that. But there are also many people that haven't listened or they didn't want to listen. And, just naming a really common example of the world, basically, a worldwide example, because I guess it's not just limited to Germany. Anyway, that is pretty much the idea of the Cassandra as someone who has the ability to warn people, to see the future, but she can't share those warnings because she's cursed. So, yeah. Interesting. Really interesting, but also melody-wise, as I've said before, really, really cool. There's not much to translate here, to be honest, in terms of the song's title. As I've said before, in German it would rather be Cassandra. So the A, the German A, would be pronounced slightly different, for instance. So that is a difference in terms of the verbalization, but yeah. That is that. Definitely I hope they will release that as a single. I really do. It's definitely one of the strongest songs melody wise on the album, and also the lyrical context and content, both I feel are really thought provoking and cool. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Next song, Heaven is Here, which sounds like a relief. And that also, when you look at the song list from top to bottom, especially song titles that are coming up, for instance, song number 13, The Bomb, there is a dramaturgy that's running throughout the album, I feel. It could be a concept album even. At least loosely, I don't know. But yeah, would make a great video. Definitely, yeah. Agreed. So let's listen to the ninth song, which is called Heaven is Here by Florence and the Machine in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Love it. Some interesting sound design choices. Okay, stop. That sounded very self-referential there. Every song I wrote became, what was it? A tie upon my neck that pulled me up to closer to heaven. I think she said something like that. As long as it's not a noose, I think. Also, a shorter song, 1 minute and 51 seconds. Not even 2 minutes. So right in between, being an actual song and an interlude. Interesting. It actually had, or it gave me sort of a perfect circle kind of vibes as well, a little bit. Don't know why. Maybe it was pretty much the mood, the overall mood of this one. Hi, Toby. Alles fit? The Cassandra song reminded me of another song of them. I can't quite remember. Maybe someone knows, or maybe someone had the same interpretation there. That's a really interesting shift from the staccato, almost aggressive, percussive call and response. Yeah, at first I couldn't make out the rhythmic pattern, the rhythmic design, because it was slowly building. But I dig that when that happens, when you don't really get the actual the rhythm of the song right away, and it just builds. Or sometimes songs actually you might think that you actually heard where the one is, on the beat, but then when the actual rhythm drops, the one is played on a whole different beat, You know, it's pretty much offbeat. And I love when that happens. Sometimes that does, you know, with certain songs and certain artists, they love to do that. So Heaven is Here um, could be seen as a quite uplifting song, but with a condition, mit einer Bedingung, because, as the lyrical eye said, heaven is here if you want it, you know, if you're ready for it, if you embrace it. And I feel like that is pretty much the core of the song. You know, you can actually allow yourself to think freely and to maybe also just in a spiritual way, religious way, you know, be closer to heaven or something like that. If you want it, if you allow yourself to, you know, if you are not bound or held back by obstacles or society or whatever. So I don't know. And yeah, that is pretty much what I got from this. It's the line, Heaven is here if you want it. Der Himmel ist hier, wenn du ihn willst. Right? That would be a very literal translation, but fitting. And that is what I, yeah, got out of this. And no, Umberto, don't you worry. You didn't miss too much, like maybe a couple of songs. But as I've said before, if you want to, you can always re-listen, re-watch this recording afterwards. So that is not a problem at all. Wie ist der Rockshop so in echt? Konntest du ihn richtig anfassen? Ja. Er ist genauso wie ich ihn kenne von YouTube, auch in echt. Aber ich werde jetzt nicht groß darüber sprechen, weil es geht jetzt hier ums Album. Deswegen, ne? Alright. That is that. And of course, some vocabulary for you guys. And there's almost just like one basic term that is really important in this context, you know, something that you long for, like a state of mind or like a place, basically, you know, der Himmel, singular, die Himmel, plural, the heaven in a spiritual way, basically, or in a more like meteorological, real way, the sky, you know, both terms apply for der Himmel. In German, we would use both terms for both things, basically. Either the sky or the heaven. You know, der Himmel. And yeah, I'm really curious about the next song as well because it has a really interesting title, which I also had to look up. Never heard this one before. But more about the song and the song's title, especially after we've listened to it. So let's continue with song number 10. I hope I'm not gonna butcher it. It's Daffodil? 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 I don't know, actually. Daffodil. That is how a German might actually pronounce this. Daffodil. But it's not a German word, I don't think. So, yeah. Okay, so let's listen to song number 10 in 3, 2, 1, play. Okay. Ooh. Wow. Okay. Didn't expect that change. Daffodil. Oh, nice. Like that. And stop. Okay. That was daffodil. Interesting term, once again. Um, hmm. I have an idea what the lyrics could be referring to, but I don't know if it hits the hammer on the nail. If that is that the correct phrase? I think so. If that is really like the meat of the song, the core of the song, lyrically speaking. So she, meaning Florence, meaning in this case actually the lyrical I, actually mentions, I saw the future in the face of a daffodil, you know, which in German could be, ich sah die Zukunft im Gesicht einer Narzisse, because a daffodil is actually a flower. Yes, it's a, sometimes I think mostly yellow flower, die Narzisse, singular, die Narzissen, die Narzissen, plural, the daffodil. So, um, I didn't know that. I didn't have any association with this term when I read it, so I had to look it up. Interesting choice for a song name, but of course very fitting to the floral themes of the band in a visual way. I was also referring to the album's cover art because she is holding a flower. Don't know if it's a daffodil actually, because I'm not botanically trained enough to judge that. I'm afraid. I like flowers, but I don't know too much about them. So that is the line anyway. I saw the future in the face of a daffodil. Ich sah die Zukunft im Gesicht einer Narzisse. Even though a flower doesn't have a face in the literal sense of the word, of course, but in the blossom, so to speak. I don't know. Very interesting, definitely. Let me put this right here, like that. Okay. So, um, also a cool song. Definitely enjoyed that one as well. Hits the nail on the head. Hits the hammer on the nails. Also is quite interesting. Hits the nail on the head. Yeah, that is what I was thinking about. So daffodil, a flower, right? Because it actually also harkens back to or links back to Greek mythology, similar to Cassandra. So there is a common theme running through this album, or common related themes, I feel. So it leads us back to, as I've said before, the Greek mythology, and the name daffodil and especially in German, I think it becomes even more obvious with Die Narzisse. Die Narzisse, the flower, and the name of the flower is derived from Narcissus, Nazis in German, which was a Greek god, and he basically fell in love with his own reflection in the water, with his own image. He looked at himself, his reflection, his mirror image, and I think for the rest of his life and his existence, he kept loving himself. It's a very self-centered and I guess mostly pejoratively used metaphor. So it could be seen as, I guess you could also interpret this in a more positive light, but I feel like mostly when people talk about Nazis, Narcissus, the Greek god that fell in love with his own image, they use this in a more pejorative way. So, and when he died, actually, I think that flower actually sprouted where he was, hence it was named after him, at least in German. Narzisse, die Narzisse. Because I think daffodil is derived from the botanic floral family of those flowers, which is Asphodelus, I think it's called. Therefore, daffodil. So actually, when you use the German term die Narzisse, the daffodil, the flower, the context actually is more obvious, I feel, which is interesting. And very fitting to another line of the song, in Christian religions, the flower represents resurrection, renewing yourself, starting anew, and starting from scratch again, allowing yourself to rejuvenate yourself and the way you approach things and, what you do in life. And that also harkens back to what she actually said in the lyrics, meaning Florence and the lyrical I in this case. I practice resurrection every night. Ich übe jede Nacht die Wiederauferstehung sozusagen, so to speak, or die Auferstehung, So I want to change myself pretty much, or I intend to change myself, my life around every night, but something might be preventing me from doing so finally, like at the end of the day. Maybe it's a song about, not being able to start anew, but still wanting and not giving up. I don't know. Could be. Very, very interesting. That family of flora has uses as medicine and maybe hallucinogens. Yeah, I could see that fit as well. But I think I've also heard about that. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I think that is that. Let's continue with song number 11, My Love. Yes. Which also, of course, it's basically a typical name for a Florence and the Machine song, if you will. So let's listen to it. Maybe, the title could hint at it being a ballady type of song. Maybe not. I guess we'll find out in a second. So let's listen to My Love by Florence and the Machine in 3, 2, 1, play. I love the chorus, by the way. Like the choir, I mean. Interestingly enough, even though it's like still rhythmical here and there, wow. I feel the song is less rooted in, actual drums being in the forefront compared to previous Florence and the Machine albums. That is so typically Florence and the Machine. Love it. Oh, I think I've heard this one on the radio. Okay. Little coda there. Nice. Acoustic guitar once again. And stop. Wow, okay. I think there was a single as well. I think I actually heard this one at least once somewhere on the radio. Most probably. Um wow. I mean, this one of all those songs that we've listened to so far on this album might remind me the most of older Florence and the Machine albums. You know, the typical Florence and the Machine type of song. This one could have easily been on previous albums. I mean, many of the songs, to be honest. They are not like diverging too far away from their usual sound, their known common sound. So it's not extremely experimental, but it's experimental enough in the sense of, you know, it has its distinct holistic sound, Cosm. You know, you can tell it's a distinct album, if that makes sense. It's hard to describe actually. Um, but there is a common quality, also tonal quality running through this album, which I really dig because I think that's not too easy to achieve as an artist sometimes. Um, so great song. Love the chorus, and I think this will be one of those choruses that will stick in my head for the remainder of the day. um, I really need to see them live at some point, you know. My good friend Nina, who I'm about to see this evening, when together with other mutual friends we're about to go to the movies. She's a big fan of Florence and the Machine as well, and she has seen them live before. And I think she actually said that it was great. So I would like to see them live at some point. Definitely. So, about the song, it's Meine Liebe, my love. You know, that is pretty much the literal and actual translation. What do I mean by that? Sometimes, you know, the literal translation sounds a bit stiff, and it's not the way Germans would express this in daily life. But in this case, it's pretty much both are the same. You know, both the literal and actual translation are meine Liebe, my love. Meine Liebe. For die Liebe, singular. Die Lieben, plural. The love as a noun, right? And of course, you could also talk about the verb, because that's actually the origin of the noun, I guess, in a way, because it's lieben, to love. Love it. See what I did there. And interestingly enough, you could also distinguish between, meine Liebe, in terms of die Liebe, could be like, and it doesn't matter which sex that person has, the gender of the person, whether it's a male, a female, or, non-binary, could be anyone, because meine Liebe could refer to anyone, basically. It's universal in that expression. So, yeah. Or universal. But if you want to say that to a man or a male, you could also say mein Lieber, in the sense of maybe being a bit more colloquial, mein lieber Freund, mein lieber Mann, my dear, beloved, lovely man, my dear, beloved, lovely friend, mein Lieber, right? So, but if you were to talk about the love of your life in a more general sense, you would also say meine Liebe, even if it's, related to a man. So that works as well. That's pretty much the most common way to say this. And lyrically speaking, I feel this song may be referring to someone who is willing and able to give lots of love, but it's not like accepted. Like the love isn't accepted by the other person in the relationship, or you have so much love to give to the world or to to people that you don't know where to start, because it's so overwhelming. There's so much going on. There are so many people who could need that love and that attention and that hope and that that caring nature, the caring strength, so to speak. And it's interesting. It's really interesting. Sometimes, to be honest, I feel the same, because most of the time, knocking on wood, I'm a very, very lucky person. I feel very lucky, and I'm in pretty much a pretty good mood most of the time in my life. So, but of course, I've also been very sad, and there are also times where I'm really sad and maybe more like, feeling helpless, in terms of situations I'm facing that I can't do anything about, because it's beyond my control. I mean, we all know that, I guess. But sometimes I feel the same, when I'm doing really great, when I'm having a really great time and I want to share that. I sometimes have the urge to share that, my personal good joy, my personal joy that I'm experiencing at the moment. But I can't. Sometimes I can't. And sometimes I wish, all people could feel that joy, because I know that many people can't feel that joy, and they are, maybe suffering from depression, or, just having a bad time. Sad things have happened in their lives recently and that kind of stuff. And yeah. So I can sort of relate to that aspect, that point there, that aspect here. So to quote one line, for instance, so tell me where to put my love, also sag mir, wohin mit meiner Liebe. That is pretty much what I just said, So tell me where to start sharing my love, my warmth, my hope to people, to others, or with others. So, and of course, correlating to that, I don't know where to put my love. Ich weiß nicht, wohin mit meiner Liebe, which is pretty similar and also was quoted in the chorus. Fenris says, I felt like her love is her music, her art, and she has nowhere to put it because lockdown. Wow, okay, that's an interesting perspective. but makes total sense, of course. There's nothing to write about and no one to play to. Yeah. Wow, that is a great perspective on things. Didn't think of that at all, but of course, yeah. I mean, many people feel like that, especially musicians, or actors, theater actors, for instance, that can't or couldn't work for quite a long time, and musicians couldn't play shows for quite a while in recent months, as we all know. And yeah, I could definitely see that fit as well. That is a great aspect, Fenris. Thanks for sharing that. So, okay, we're closing in slowly but surely. We're coming closer to the end of the album. Let's listen to another really short song, 47 seconds, which is another interlude, I think, which is called Restrained. More about that song title in about 47 seconds from now. Let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Wow. Wow. Okay, stop. That was creepy. She almost sounded as if she was choking, or choked, rather. Um, wow. I mean, fitting to the title, restrained. You feel restrained. And also, I guess, in a way, linking back to what I just said about my love. There's something that is holding you back. Um, hmm. Maybe in that sense, just thinking about that, what Fenris actually just said, what I also talked about, the dance fever, the fever in the sense of you couldn't dance for a long time because of the pandemic and everything being closed and no shows and all, and the musicians and artists couldn't perform and maybe had no inspiration for new material. That now, like, sort of like a fever has emerged over time, and now that you can do it again in some capacity, at least, um, at the moment, might change when it's getting colder outside again, like, fall or winter. Who knows? Hopefully not. Now you can really live the dance fever. You can give in to the dance fever. You can let your suppressed or your stored energy out that you have stored for like multiple months now because you couldn't let it out live. For instance, at live shows. So maybe the restraint, die Zurückhaltung, is over now, in a way, or it could be over under certain circumstances. I don't know. So it's die Zurückhaltung, the restraint, as a noun, or of course as a verb, zurückhalten, to restrain, or as a present participle, Partizip Präsens, that is, something is restraining, Etwas ist zurückhaltend, restraining. So, and basically that situation that I just talked about, the context, the pandemic context, might be restraining people, or might have been restraining people. It might have been zurückhaltend, in the sense of keeping you back. And you might have been zurückhaltend, you might have kept yourself back because of that. So it's correlating, maybe even. I wonder if Restraint was intended as an epilogue to My Love. Yeah, maybe. I could see that fit, as I've said before. That line, "Am I quiet enough for you yet?" Yeah. Yeah, in that sense. Mm-hmm. Good point. Once again. Fenris. Okay, so interesting song title coming up here. If this were a metal band, I would expect something that is really, thrashy, heavy, fast, pumping. But we'll see what this is going to be about in the context of Florence and the Machine. Song number 13, the penultimate song, is called The Bomb. And it's going to be playing in 3, 2, 1, play. Okay, quite the opposite so far. Spotify, what is going on? Vocals once again. Okay. And stop. I said stop. Okay. The Bomb. Huh. So maybe I don't know if I actually caught the lyrics correctly that way, but I thought that, maybe the lyrical eye listed a few things that they did for their partner in a relationship, and but the lyrical eye still feels like they did that mainly for the other person and not for them. They did the other person a favor and didn't really get too much back in return. And so it's not like a love, it's pretty much a one-sided love to them. They want to enjoy the relationship and being a couple, but they feel, at least they feel, that it's pretty much a one-sided thing, and that it's not well balanced, I guess. And You know, that is, but they don't know if they see, or if that perception that they have, you know, the lyrical eye, about this, and that they are just like doing something for the other person, but the other person is not doing so much or giving so much back to the lyrical eye. They aren't really sure if that really is the case, or if they just imagining that, or if, you know, the extent of that is accurate. Because I feel like the lyrical eye actually said, "Come here, baby, tell me that I'm wrong. You know, please tell me that I'm wrong and that I'm not seeing this correctly and that I'm just imagining things, or maybe I'm just making things up and without like a foundation to it. But I feel like, you know, you're not giving me enough attention, and you're not like appreciative. You're not appreciative enough of what I do in the relationship, what I give in, or what I do in the relationship, and, you know, maybe something like that. I don't know. That is pretty much the tone that I got from this. I mean, you know, you would expect, as I've said before, a song like The Bomb to be really explosive sounding. Um, but I think the lyrics could be that, you know? She's basically addressing problems in a relationship, and maybe to some degree, you know, dropping the bomb, therefore, the lyrical bomb, and the other person in the relationship might not have expected that, like those accusations, or those that point of view. So I don't know. Anyway, in German it would be "Komm her, Baby, sag mir, dass ich falsch liege." In German, you know, as a term referring to your partner, you would also use das, or the baby. You know, "Komm her, Baby," "Come here, baby, tell me that I'm wrong." It's pretty much similar. There are many other terms you could use as well, of course, but it's also common. Fiona Apple. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Fiona Apple, to be honest, but I know which type of music she does. Sometimes subtle emotions are explosive, says John. Yes, like stacking cards just to watch them fall. Yeah. So I think the lyrics are about being in love with the idea of love rather than a person. The emotion drama, was it? Turmoil of it. But I don't love you, I just love the bomb. I just love to be in love with love, you know? Something like that, maybe, of that nature. Ah. Yeah, breaks me, shakes me, devastates me. You know, yeah. That is. She has a great sense for those types of things, I feel. Or the band, you know, not just her, but the band. Um, hmm. Interesting. Once again, an interesting song. And it just leaves you thinking, doesn't it? You know, the lyrics leave you thinking what this could be about in the grand scheme of things. If there is a connection between the songs on the album or not, if it's like a loose connection, if there's any at all. You know, I don't know. What I do know is that we have also a German translation of the term of the song's title. That's what I want to say. Which I don't think I'm gonna write that down into the chat. Maybe YouTube is not appreciative of that, and I get that it probably won't be. So, but it's pretty much similar. It's die Bombe singular, die Bomben plural, the bomb. That would be the German translation. Of course, not talking about real ones, just metaphorical. You know, just for the algorithm out there. Anyway, won't have that problem with the last song of the album, which has a really interesting song title, which I don't know anything about what this could be about, but maybe we're gonna find out together, you know, listening to the last song on here, which is titled Morning Elvis. So let's give it a go one last time in 3, 2, 1, go. Getting really warm in here. Ooh. That sounds really cool. Okay, the real Elvis then. Wow. Once again, goosebumps. And I think that's a Mellotron in the background, but slightly altered. Love me some Mellotron. Wow. And the audience in the background coming back to life after the pandemic, getting louder and louder, maybe? Huh. Okay. That was the last song, Morning Elvis. Um, I couldn't make sense of the song's title, to be honest, before. And, you know, of course, obviously it's referencing Elvis and Graceland and Memphis, and that whole persona. So I don't know what this is about, to be honest. I mean, it sort of is pretty much. I feel like it sort of is that sense of resurrection and rebirth, and music coming back to life after so many months without, in the live context at least, and hope. I feel this is a quite hopeful song, at least sound wise, and very touching actually. The melody is really really well developed, and definitely one of those songs that I would like to see them doing live and listening to that live. So Morning Elvis could be, pretty much like a colloquial morning, Guten Morgen, Elvis would be the German equivalent. Guten Morgen, Elvis. Good morning, Elvis. Morning, Elvis, something like that. For der Morgen, singular, die Morgen, plural, the morning. And the actual, salutation, the actual greeting would be Guten Morgen, good morning. A literal translation, a direct translation, actually, direct equivalent. So, but it also, first of all, posting that into the chat. There. And that is Guten Morgen, good morning, and I think it's about waking up as the king. I mean, it would make sense. Elvis was the king, the first song being the king, so it comes full circle. I see, yeah. I think it's about waking up hungover. Yeah, but maybe also hungover in a more metaphorical way, a more metaphorical way, maybe. After every tour, I swear I'll quit. See, I didn't catch that line, actually. Sometimes it's really hard for me to catch all those little details at a first listen, because usually I'm more listening to the music in its entirety, meaning the combination of instruments and lyrics, but sometimes I get overwhelmed by the sound of it, so I don't really pay attention to the lyrics so much. Maybe that is like a foreign thing when it comes to listening to English music, and you guys, having English as a native language, might perceive things a bit more directly. Therefore, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But, that is why I love doing this live. Because instead of, doing this as a VOD, which was also fun in terms of the Rammstein Zeit album listening party, but I couldn't do that live because of my the infection that I was still suffering from, and I was coughing so much. So, yeah. I don't think it's a one-off hangover. I think it's about overindulgence and addiction. Ah, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Elvis also suffered from that, as we all know. He also had his demons. So, but the other question that it bears, basically, or that bears, is that knowing all of that, what fame does to people, or how exhausting it can be to be a touring musician, is it worth being that, or wanting to become that on a really big level, at least, like a really world-renowned level? I mean, they are. Florence and the Machine are a big band, by now, and have been quite a few years, actually. So they definitely know what they are talking about. Yeah, interesting. Do I think I think it's a loose concept album. In some cases, I can see the relations in between songs more than in others, but I think they all are sort of linked, sometimes more directly, sometimes more indirectly, but there's some element of cohesion in there, like a cohesive album, a holistic album that is sort of linked, but it's also sort of loose in times, or in parts. So interesting, very interesting. And by the way, this time I didn't forget to mention or talk about the last song which I did with the previous album listening party for Ghost, because I was so, oh, and that was the album, and now let's talk about the album, and I didn't talk about the last song on the album last time, which I just noticed afterwards when I made the timestamps. Interesting. But I actually included that in the chat there as well, in the comment section later on. So just for you folks that were wondering about that, maybe. So that was a journey. That was quite a journey, definitely. The dark audience sound at the end seals the deal for me, it being a concept album. Yeah. The other question is, though, is it like an obvious context, or can it be like multiple contexts all in one, or like interwoven, so to speak, or intertwined? Or is there multiple contexts here which correlate between each other, but also linked to each other, right? Love, and the love for music, and playing music in front of people that love the music, that use the songs for their own lives and own maybe sometimes completely different contexts in life, and once again, I guess in that sense it could be interpreted as a love letter to the power of music. And of course, as a music nerd, I dig that message. So the audience sound at the end actually worked with the chorus lyric, "If I make it to the stage." Yeah. But also not knowing if it will work out, right? If I'm gonna make it at all, hopefully I will, but true, which theme would be the concept? I mean, love, of course, is a recurring concept for many of their songs, and love in various facets, and forms. So, wow, that was a really, really, really cool journey, you guys. And a really cool album, to be honest. I think it was a bit more, I could say, like, ironically speaking, it was less dancey than previous Florence and the Machine albums. But it also has its dancey moments, of course. My Love being one, Cassandra probably being my two favorite songs on the album from my first listen. My Love and Cassandra. But also, like, Morning Elvis, I had goosebumps there. And I think, what was the other one? Was it Back in Town or Girls Against God or something like that? Or Dream Girl Evil? Wow. Hi, Steffi. Moin. Ashzaha. My English is not the yellow from the egg, it's under all pig, so tell me not from the horse. Freut mich, dass du einschaltest, hör mal. Wir sind gerade dabei, oder wir hatten gerade das neue Florence and the Machine Album gehört zusammen. Und so als Listening Party sozusagen, nenne ich das. Und gleichzeitig, erkläre ich halt hier und da so ein paar deutsche Begriffe, die zu den Songs passen. Das ist so das Konzept dieser Album- oder dieser Videoreihe, die ich jetzt mal neu angefangen habe. Und macht sehr viel Spaß, ja. So Ashzaha is a dear friend of mine, lovely Steffi, who also has been a guest in my podcast. We actually talked about her working at a German prison. I think it was episode 30-something. I can't remember which one exactly, but it was a fun episode. So, yeah. For me, the overarching theme is about music itself. Yeah. I think it works that way as well, My love is music, so to speak. So, I could see that fit. Wow. What are your favorite songs, I wonder? Last but not least. As I've said before, like, Cassandra is one of mine. I hope that's going to be another single. Daffodil was pretty cool. My Love was one of my favorite ones, definitely. I mean, but there wasn't a song that I disliked. You know, I think it's a pretty solid, strong album. Will it be one of the best of Florence and the Machine? Only time will tell. Ja. Alles gut, Steffi, alles gut. Ganz im Gegenteil, ich freue mich ja trotzdem, dass du eingeschaltet hast. Ne? Deswegen liebe Grüße. Und wir sind jetzt gleich am Ende, von daher, wir haben ja das Album gerade durchgehört. Und ja. I wish the new Lorde album was more like this one. Not too familiar with Lorde, to be honest. Cassandra was a standout, yes. I could see that fit being like a single as well. I hope it will be. So yeah, strong album, and I hope you enjoyed this little album listening party. The third one and the second one doing live, you know. Once more, and of course also, not last but not least, where is it? Whoops. My YouTube channel members, giving a shout out to them, as well as to my Patreon supporters and everyone for supporting the channel. As I've said before at the beginning, I've reached 50,000 subscribers a couple of days ago, and I was blown away, and I still am blown away. I might have another live stream coming up in a few days from now to celebrate that, you know, doing like a usual AMA Q&A type of stream, little chill stream with you guys. Gonna let you guys know, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, don't know which album we're gonna listen to next, but I have a little list of potential albums that I might do here. Also some older ones here and there. But yeah, that is this. That was Florence and the Machine, Dance Fever, an album that I really enjoyed, and you guys seem to like it as well. So thank you very much for doing this and for sticking around and for staying till the end, especially to Fenris, to Carl Creighton, to every single one of you guys, to John and everyone else. Umberto, of course, you know, and also cheers to every single one of you guys who actually continued watching this on YouTube. Maybe even the whole thing. I don't know. If so, wow. So thank you. Thank you very much. And see you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm your Vlog Dave. Tschüss und bis zum... Wait a moment. Ha! Thank you very much for watching.